Cue James!
Thank you very much indeed. When is a manhole cover not a manhole cover? All will be revealed later. Rosemarie is the floor manager on tonight's programme, which is going to cause us all sorts of problems.
Certainly is, James, yes.
And we've got Labby Sifri. We'll be talking to him about his new book, Nigger, a little bit later on. Music from Hetty Blue. We've got a competition to go somewhere hot and sunny. And we'll be looking at political correctness. Why you can't, for instance, and I have to read, feminists have decreed that menstruation should be renamed femstration.
Oh, dear. Oh, God, help us.
Islington Council are sending their male workers for therapy to stop them from wolf whistling. Exactly. Cue titles. Okay, right, in we go. Should I take this or not? Now, you know what you have to do on this?
Do I?
You have to count me into everything, and
I'll
you
do
have
my
to...
best.
Yes, okay, so you have to do that. Mind little Barry.
I will indeed.
Because he is Britain's smallest cameraman. Very nice. Welcome. All right. Now. Fine, that's good. All right. Okay. That is more than enough. That's great. Now, Rosemarie, that's good. If you can keep it going that way, that is excellent. Good. Thank you very much indeed. Could I have that? Thank you. Okay. This is a gollywog. I don't know that we should be showing this on television. It really isn't politically correct. We tried everywhere. Harrod said they'd sold out. We did get this one from Miss Selfridge, and it's very nice. Very nice. It costs a lot of money as well. This actually costs more than a live guest for the programme. So there we are. Political correctness. Welcome my first guests tonight from Scallywag Simon Regan and Angus James. Now, you two gentlemen looking a little pensive. I don't want you to be pensive. I want you to come into the warm, wonderful fold that is Whale On. Simon, are you... do you go out of your way to upset people or not?
Of course, yes. I mean, there are two whole points. There are two whole points to Scallywag. And one was because we did believe, quite honestly, that political correctness needed a vibrant answer. Yeah. And two, because the rest of the press had begun to get so jolly tame.
But is political correctness really, I mean, is that a silly term? When we asked a lot of people to appear on this programme and talk about it, they said, there is no such thing. If you want to talk about fascism, the rise of it, or racism, or something like that, fine. But there's no such thing as political correctness.
That's absolutely ludicrous. I mean, it started in a small way in New York and spread to the West Coast. It's now come over here. We've got the sort of backlash of it. If we are not allowed now, we're directed not to allow our children, for example, to have Christmas in play schools. If Birmingham and places like that are abolishing Christmas trees, and which they did last Christmas, etc., etc., then it's something that's here to stay. If all our fairy tales are being re-edited and rewritten, our pantomimes being moaned about, if in fact it's becoming a fact of life in politics, in boardrooms, and heaven knows what else, then it's ludicrous to say it doesn't exist.
But Angus, I mean, Scallywag is a fairly trendy magazine, isn't it? I mean, you're thought of as being fairly risky and on the edge, and in fact, I think a lot of people are very surprised to see you still going in '94. Don't you, to be trendy in this, whatever trendy may be, or to have attitude, whatever that may be, don't you have to be politically correct?
Not at all, no. I mean, we go out of our way and spend most of our time trying not to be. I think it's...
Are you racist, or would you consider you're a racist?
No, not at all. I mean,
it's
our magazine sets out to have impact, and basically, if any form of writing has impact, I think that's positive. Even if it does cause controversy, even if it does upset people.
I mean, a lot of people have said that sorting all these things out, like, I mean, it was Plymouth Council, a last-minute decision to ban the word manager has been reversed because they actually found it had nothing to do with being...
Only just, on a majority of one.
Oh, is it a majority of one?
Yeah. Sorry, if I may
go on, yes.
racist thing, it's absolutely intolerable to suggest that we're racist. On a personal note, one of my greatest drinking buddies is a Jamaican window cleaner who's a tremendous fellow, and I love him deeply and dearly. On the other hand, in North London where I live, I meet an awful lot of absolutely awful blacks. You know, I mean, the difference is that you don't have to like someone or dislike them merely because they're black.
OK, understood. Liverpool Council have abolished the word love, which really is going to piss off the Beatles when you think about it, isn't it?
I mean, after Christmas, don't you think there's anything more ludicrous than abolishing the word love?
Well, yes.
You know, I mean, I can't even see the political correct reason behind it. I just can't see the logic.
I mean, the other thing as well I thought was quite funny, that pantomimes, I forget which one now, were going to ban fairies because they thought that would be offensive to fairies. But I thought fairies were mystical beings. I didn't know there were such things as fairies.
You should take a look at our front cover.
Yeah, well, yes. I put something over that fairly quickly. OK.
They're banning Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell is the whole essence of childhood in Peter Pan. I mean, it's a romantic one.
OK, Simon and Angus, thank you for the moment. Very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the bosses of Scallywag. Right, now here, Rosemary, you're supposed to be standing by the camera so I know which one I'm on.
I was having such a good time here.
Yes, were you? Oh, good. Fine. Over here, Rosemary, by the camera, so I know which camera.
Where do you want me?
That's there. Fine.
Can you see me all right?
Yes, and just point to the camera.
I'm looking all right now.
Fine. That's not at all politically correct. It doesn't make any difference how you look at all. Men and women are all but one. Now,
are you going to do the competition now?
Yes, I'm going to do that now.
God love you.
OK, fine. That's nice, because, you know, usually the floor manager tells you to do it, but it's up to me, is it?
I know. So now I've told you. You've got to get on with it.
Oh, right, fine, OK, right. Now, here we are, a new year. A new year is with us, 1994, and those of you who enter the competition could be one of the lucky ones to go away on holiday. First of all, we've got a holiday for 2 people on the island of Mallorca. It must be taken before June this year, so that's good because you can have an early holiday and it'll be quiet. Or you could take it after September if, you know, not in the busy period. We don't want you to go in the busy period. Now, which of the following, can we go screen? Which of the following is more politically correct? Chairman, chairwoman or chairperson? And the number to ring, 0891 900 007. 0891 900 007. And the lines, of course, as usual, are open until midnight on Sunday.
Hear you. Well, over by the audience.
Okay, right. Rosemary, dear, please. No. What I do. I'm sorry. You've got a problem, haven't you? That Mike Mansfield is in the ear
He's
the
in
whole
my
time.
ear, yes,
right,
he is,
and there is nothing worse than having him in your ear.
Yes, well, it's
okay, and he's wittering on, isn't he? And where are we? Do you know where? I've got to go over here to...
Go over to the audience,
yes, OK, well, I'm over here at the audience. I talk to the audience, aren't I?
You're going to talk to the audience.
Is that all right?
This is the audience here. Look, this is the
audience.
Oh,
very nice. Oh, very nice. Well, nice to see the audience. OK.
What a crowd.
First of all, OK, thank you. I'll get on with it now.
Go on, you can get on with it now.
This man needs no introduction at all. He must be the most politically correct person I know. The longest-serving leader of a political party in this country, David Lord Such.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes. Have you? That's enough.
Thank you.
Have you got a view on political correctness or not?
Well, it's another word for good manners, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I thought so. Yes. Fine.
It's about, and there's a lot of hoo-ha made about all this political right, but we've lasted all these years. We've got into 1994 without political correctness. So why can't we go on forever? What we've always done. Why we've got to change things? We don't want to keep changing the world. You know, they'll blow up the world soon, so we won't have to bother about political correctness.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What are you doing? I'm trying to... What? For an MP, that is really not on. What are you doing?
This young lady lost her earring.
Well, give it to her.
I was trying to put it back on her.
Is that how that earring...
No, it's just a pen, please.
Sorry,
please.
I haven't got an earring.
Thank you. Stan Ehrlich is here. Dan. I'm sorry, Dan. Dan.
We had drinks together.
Dan, I'm sorry. How are you, Dan? It's nice to see you. Okay, Dan, this stuff, I mean, how does this work? We have the Americans to blame it on, for goodness sake. I mean, you started all this political correctness and everybody having to be sort of very careful about offending each other.
Yes, and it's starting to, like you say, creep in here in a big way. The thing is, it's like Lord Such here says, it is a way of trying to be nice to people, being polite to people. The trouble is, when it becomes legislated and becomes litigated to the point where you have to do something, you're being forced to be politically correct, then it becomes tyranny. And then you are in a situation of being told if you don't behave properly, you don't have a job here anymore. You might get sacked because you call a person by the wrong title or refer to a person by the wrong name. And that, to me, is not the mark of a free society. And it's happening in America right now.
Should we not have learned to be more tolerant, first of all, before we had these people enforcing these things? I mean, perhaps we should have learned to be more tolerant.
I think this country here, compared to America, is far more tolerant. I mean, I think Britain has long been politically correct in its own right, on a natural veneer of civility that British people seem to have over everything else. I mean, you look at, you look at the truth. The so-called British Reserve is fantastic. I mean, when you compare the racial relations, for instance, in this country, compare the racial relations in America, there's no comparison. Yet you don't have nearly the legislation that America has to secure equal rights. So therefore, Americans feel they have to try to redress the racist tendencies in America and various things like that.
Dan, thank you for the all right, fine. Thank you very much indeed for the moment, Dan. And
rest your bread in the gravy.
Rosemary, you're doing very
comfortable enough now.
I am comfortable. Thank you.
Have you found all your wee notes there now?
Yes, I am.
These are the Irish ones here.
No, I'm on this page. Don't do that. I'm on this page. Thank you,
I wish I wasn't so shy. I'll go.
No, please. I wish you would too. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Claire Short, welcome to the programme. Alan Duncan, and we've also got Don Foster here as well. Nice to see you all. I suppose, Claire, I have to start with you because although maybe there's some humour into what people have perhaps seen the funny side. Maybe they shouldn't see the funny side of political correctness. Is there something we should have learnt before it got to this stage, do you think?
Well, I think, honestly, the allegation of political correctness is from a lot of sour, nasty people who don't like the way things are moving on, and lots of grown-up people are saying men and women are basically equal, and that doesn't mean we're against sex. And that it's really bad to be racist to black people, and you shouldn't be prejudiced against gay people. And there's a rump of nasty, vile, bigoted people who hate the idea that people are getting grown up and democratic, so they're accusing those of us who think it's nice to be pretty equal and decent of this sin of political correctness. That's what's going on.
That leads us in quite nicely, I suppose, to Alan Duncan, MP, really, doesn't it, Alan? Not that you are any of those things, but you have... I couldn't have actually done a better introduction, Alan, really. Alan, you have been a Member of Parliament for Rutland and Milton. You were elected in 1992, so you're quite new to this, really, aren't you? A couple of years under your belt, I suppose. Less than a couple of years. And you've been speaking out against this. Now, do you believe in what you've been saying, or has it just been to try and get some headlines?
We're not sour and nasty. I mean, Claire's picked on the wrong point here. I believe in a lot of what political correctness started out to try to do, which was to defend the interests of minorities. That's fine. I'm all for that. But what it's done is it's gone completely upside down, and now the minorities are persecuting the majorities, and certain people just can't do basic things.
Example.
Well, yes, let's have an example.
Okay. Just before Christmas...
Oh, I see.
Just before Christmas... Here we are, the infant coordinator in a primary school. Pretty well banned Christmas and said you couldn't say Father Christmas. Now, what this is beginning to do is to destroy our culture.
Hang on.
Destroying our culture.
Although that is in the Sun, if that was a fact, Claire, is that something that should be looked down on?
Because they can't say we're in favour of racism, being vile to gay people, and sort of supporting battering and violence against women.
Is this offensive?
People like him.
Is he? I mean, he's quite sweet, but I mean, is that it, or she? No.
Well, I think you see, I grew up in a house that had gollywogs.
I mean, it's a nice. I mean,
let me answer you.
Sorry, yeah.
But I don't call it a gollywog.
Just a minute. I grew up in Handsworth in Birmingham, and I still live there, and I represent it. And we don't have gollywogs anymore, and we don't have 10 little nigger boys. And I had that story when I was 4, but quite rightly we don't in our schools, because we learned something. That you can't live in a community where there are black and white children in your schools and say, why don't we read 10 little nigger boys? And if you go on doing that, if you don't learn, you're just crude and rude.
But is the banning of this...
No one's banning it.
Fine. Okay.
Out of taste and respect for people, people aren't buying them.
OK.
But you have banned it. You've taken Little Black Sambo and all these
no
stories
one
about
has
schools.
banned it. It's a matter of
have.
taste and decency.
Local authorities have banned it from a lot of their schools.
No, you're wrong, you see, but you are nasty. You really want black kids in Britain to have 10 little nigger boys written.
No,
yes,
I just think it's part of our colonial past that some of these cartoon
we don't
figures
know.
arose.
Now,
I mean,
Alan,
I
hang
never
on,
thought
Alan.
of that being black.
Alan, we're not...
you
listen,
lot pointed it out.
Alan, hang on. We're not wanting to go back to our colonial past. I mean, the British did... You're not Alan, really, are you?
But you have
No,
to...
come on, Alan, you're
But we're
not.
teaching history. People have to understand, you know, what happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago.
Even
I never thought
Alan.
that golly being black.
You want
until
slavery
you told
back,
me.
Control. Hang on, Mr. Foster, you're being very quiet.
I'm
and
very
you're sitting on
polite,
there, and
very
usually
polite,
you're very
very polite,
vivacious, and, you know,
absolutely.
please. Where do you stand on this? In the middle?
No,
I mean, see, we put you on the end. We
It's
just...
absolutely kind. I mean, coming as I do from the Liberal Democrats, we're very keen on some of the political correctness, like because we come from a sizably challenged party, and I wouldn't refer to your
Not my hair, please. Okay, fine, yes.
But I mean, the crucial thing, surely, is that what we're talking about is the way in which certain forms of language are offensive to people. And that's the sort of language we need to stop.
But we're in danger of
sensible.
going over the top,
But we've
aren't
gone
we?
totally over the top. I mean, you introduced the manhole cover, manning of offices, all of those sorts of things.
Who objects to manhole cover?
A large number of the feminists, the extremes of the
you're
feminist
wrong,
movement.
You see. This
No,
is
but
a
they
myth
do.
written up by silly men like this in the Sun. Then you believe it, and then you...
Can we ask, just let me go back to that, just 1 minute. Just before we finish this bit, I can hear a little man in my ear here getting very sort of physically... OK, just a minute. The Plymouth Council decision to ban the word manager was reversed, and as they said earlier, only by one vote. I mean, that was... Yes, all right. That was...
Well, now, there's an example, because I read about that. They had had a very badly organised council with lots of critical reports about the bad quality of its management and lots of layers of bureaucratic management and an inefficient council. So they decided to restructure, and I can't even remember the word they were using, but they were trying to change and get a more participative, efficient organisation. And this became a tabloid story that was a lie.
I think we're going to come back to
that
this
later.
I mean,
Yes,
what about Irish jokes? They're trying to ban Irish jokes, aren't they?
We're running over now.
Yes, I know,
music.
and we've got a fantastic band coming. This band, and we've got a lovely lady called Edwina and Martin who co-wrote the song.
Yep.
Do you want to introduce the band, Jim?
Yeah, they're Heady Blue.
Overcome, so comfortably done. Heaven help these feelings so strange. Peculiar instincts remain to strain. To love the love, to live the light, to bear my soul all through the night. Mind games, got to play those mind games. Mind games, got to play those mind games. To love the love, to live the light, to burn my soul all through the night. With a glorious scream that interrupted your dream, to crown a frown but to soothe the smooth. It's friendship time to test the best, enjoy the joy, the swinging breasts and a stinging request. It's back to back and head to toe, enjoy the joy and taste the boy. Oh, they were mind games, got to play those mind games. Mind games, got to play those mind games. To love the love, to live the light, to burn my soul all through the night. To play those mind games, got to play comfortably done.
Teddy Blue, thank you. And that was a track that was written by the band, the lead singer, and Martin, the lead singer Edwina there, who works actually in the studios here, occasionally works as a receptionist in the studio. But she should be making records. And as Yap, that's not signed up. You're not, are you? No, no, no. So they were on the show last year. You should be getting in and signing them up. You get in touch with me, 15% goes to me first of all. Now, they'll be back a little later. Before we take the break, let me remind you we're giving away this holiday for 2 people in Mallorca, and it must be taken before June or after September. Which of the following is more politically correct? Chairman, chairwoman or chairperson? My golly, that's a difficult one. 0891 900 007, and the lines are open until midnight on Sunday. Welcome back. Here we are, late and lovely. Whale on tonight. We're talking about political correctness. It's terrible. We've no big ears, but we did get a noddy. Rosemarie is the celebrity floor manager this week, and of course, celebrities, if you want to be the floor manager, because we couldn't get a decent one, we had her in.
Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you. Okay, at this particular point, as we rehearse, you're supposed to say, James, you haven't read any letters.
That's true, absolutely. We've got loads of letters. Are you going to read yours first? I got a lovely wee letter.
Did you?
From somebody in New York, because we've got a fabulous audience tonight.
Yeah.
Lovely letter here. You see, somebody does love me. Somebody wrote, said, Dear Rose, because you see, that's me.
That's your name.
It has been my one wish to see you live. It's my one wish too. I'm bringing my elderly mother to see you tonight, Rose, on the James Whale show. She doesn't get out very often these days, as she's not been very well. Oh, bless her cotton socks. But it is her birthday today, Rose, and it's a very special treat. I would love if you would sing happy birthday to her tonight. She's in the audience, and it's a very special birthday. Her name is Mrs. Dorothy Roberts. Where are you, Dorothy? And she's 111. Give her a round of applause. She's sitting over there. Dorothy, give her a bigger round of applause than that. Dorothy!
Hey, excuse me.
She was here a minute.
This is not the sort of show we do that. That's
God!
not,
Oh
no,
God! James,
yes.
I've made a mistake. She's not 111. She's ill. Oh God! Oh, sorry. I thought she was in. Yes, I thought.
Are you finished? I want to get on now, please. Thank you very much indeed. Right,
You've
okay.
got some letters,
yes,
haven't you?
no, I'm going to get on with the programme. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Nigel Nelson, Ben Huberman, and Chrissy Eiley. Okay. Now, straight into this. And you know what happens? Time, the producer, oh, we're running out of time. Nigel, you're the political editor of the people? No, that's not of the people. Correctness. Does it have a place in your paper, your writing, or not?
Only the sensible idea of it. So what we're trying to do is not to offend people unnecessarily. It's as simple as that.
Oh, great. Fine. Wonderful. OK. Ben is the chairman of PEN. And I've got to read you this, because I don't understand this. PEN stands for the principle of unhampered transmission of thought within each nation and between all nations, and members pledge themselves to oppose any form of suppression or freedom of expression in the country and the community to which they belong. Their concern is to avoid the infringement of writers' freedom of expression through the dominance of what has been newly termed political correctness. Is that...
Sounds very clear to me.
Fine. So what does that mean?
Well, it means that PEN, incidentally, I'm not chairman of PEN, I'm chairman of...
chairperson.
No, not even a chairperson. No? I'm a chairman of a committee which was doing a study of the censorship of children's books.
Right, OK.
And we were very anxious that children's books were being... People who wrote children's books were being affected by pressures of political correctness. They had to use words that their publishers told them to use rather than words that sprung from their own imagination. And they thought that the language, not only was the language being sanitized, but children would be deprived of myths and legends and...
So being a dwarf, where that wasn't really, you know, you couldn't talk about a dwarf, but you had to talk about somebody who is physically challenged or something.
I don't think the publishers went quite as far as that. But I mean,
some areas they have,
well, one example was somebody started their novel saying it was a black day, and the publisher said, no, do you mind changing that to a sad day? I mean, that sort of nonsense. And it's doing violence to the language, and it's affecting freedom of expression, and it's, you know, not good for creative thought and for children, whose books will be dull and bland, and they'll lose all the myths and so on.
OK, Chrissy Eiley is sitting next to you. Chrissy is a journalist who regularly contributes to the Sunday Times, amongst other papers.
Mainly the Sunday Times.
Mainly the Sunday Times. How does political correctness actually affect what you write? Do you worry about upsetting people? I've read some of your stuff, obviously not.
Obviously not, no. I try. No, I don't think I bear it in mind at all, and I think that's the way it should be, because I think for any thoughtful person, political correctness is offensive because it's rigid, it's patronising, it's telling you how to think, and this is going to offend somebody. Well, I think I should decide for myself what is going to offend and be able to choose the words accordingly or not, and I think it's very patronising.
But is there now a case, and Nigel, you might like to answer as well, I mean, is there a case now where your editor or sub-editor is going to say, I'm sorry, Chrissy, you can't use that sort of language? Have you been told to tone down things, or...?
Not politically correct. I think language which is described as obscene is often removed from copy, but that's not the point.
There are areas there, for instance, that my editor doesn't like the idea of starting a story with gorgeous blonde Linda Lust, because we wouldn't use it for a man. It wouldn't be handsome...
Sorry, this is the people we're talking about.
This is the people we're talking about, and you'll find that that language like that doesn't get used. So, for instance, we wouldn't start then a story, because we wouldn't start a story, handsome hunk, whatever it was.
I think I probably would.
Well, fair enough. I think columnists are rather different.
Chrissy, is that offensive to you, lovely Linda Lust, or not?
I think it's particularly bad alliteration, but it's not offensive. You know, if the woman's lovely, what's the better thing to say?
I mean, or you can talk about a man, I mean, in his whether he's lovely or not. But this is something that people you wouldn't do. Also, no sex in the people.
I think
from
the
now
other problem,
on.
that I think that Ben made a very good point, that the trouble with political correctness is it tortures the language. Yeah. And so, for instance, you start losing words. When you describe a homosexual as gay, it's something that we certainly use now because there's no other term. However, I object to it, because what then happens is you've lost the meaning of the term gay to mean happy. Now, in the paper now, I could not describe, for instance, Jerry Hayes is the happiest MP I know. If I started a story as gay MP Jerry Hayes, he would have a libel action against me.
I'm just going to move over there for the moment, Nigel. Thank you very much indeed. Then that is a very good time for us now to go and talk to our legal eagle, Gary Jacobs. Hello. Just before you do anything, over here is the lovely, luscious, lusty Lindsay Drew.
Oh, absolutely.
What are you covering yourself up for? This is the whole point of you know, I mean, this is... Are you...
I'll brazen it out.
Are you...
Shall I open my legs so you can see the monitor?
Yeah, well, that's a politically incorrect statement, but are you hampered now by political correctness? Because what you do is politically very unsound.
Incorrect, yes. No, I'll just carry on regardless.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we just get a shot of the monitor, just to show you what... I mean, I do have a monitor under here. Open your legs so I could just... See, here, down there. That's how I know whether we're on. Thank you, that's enough, that's enough. Gary, legally, how do we stand? Supposing somebody says... And we've... I mean, I've got a list over here. I'll go back and get them off the desk. Some of the rather strange things that people are saying in day-to-day life that you have to abide by.
Well, do you have to really abide by them? It's taken the law years to change so that we can now call a female judge m'lady. I can remember my early days, a female judge was called m'lord.
Really?
Yes, they were called m'lord until the last 3 or 4 years.
So obviously that's a good step forward.
It's a brilliant step, but it's very, very difficult for somebody who spent their life calling the judge m'lord, because in the county court, Your Honour can be a man or a woman. There's no politically correct statement for that. But political correctness in the law has in fact taken on something far more devious than we've been talking about tonight, and that is in connection with the care of children, where local authorities impose their political correctness. It's got nothing to do with socialism or conservatism or liberalism, but it's a so-called political correctness. It's a misnomer in determining who should be caring for children. We have children in need, regardless of their colour. We have parents and people willing to care for children in need, and yet you have social workers who are making determinations as to who should care for children on the basis of fatness, smoking, colour, political awareness and the like, and it's all utter nonsense, because the majority of us, and by the majority of us I mean ordinary people who aren't politically correct and who aren't politically aware, are very angered quite often by such behaviour.
Why, sorry, I was going to ask, why are you dressed like that? I'm sorry, can we get a, what are you... Are you in the wrong programme? This isn't Kilroy, you know.
Me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, I've come to actually give Lord Such a hand.
Oh, right, you're with Lord Such.
Yeah,
yes, I might have guessed.
Minister's
Sorry about
Mental
that.
Health.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, OK, thank you very much, India. All right, OK, we'll come... Sorry?
What else can't we say?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to come back in a moment because
OK.
I'm running out. Dan, don't worry. We're going to get back in a moment and have a bit of a free-for-all. Thank you. Come over here because one of my musical heroes is here. Ladies and gentlemen, Labby Sifry. Well, OK. There's one rule on this programme that nobody gets more applause than me. Labby, thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
Labby, you've written a book. On first glance, people, obviously some people are going to get very upset about it. It's called, this is it, this is Labby's book of poems. It's called Nigger.
Yes.
And we talked about this before, and I like the way you describe it. So describe to me why you decided to call your book, which is a book of poems,
Well,
Nigger.
I wanted a title to sum up the poems. And it occurred to me, after writing the poems, that one doesn't have to be black to be a nigger. It helps. But you could be a Palestinian in the wrong place in Israel. You could be a Jew just about anywhere except Israel. You could be a woman. As Yoko Ono says, woman is the nigger of the world. You could be gay. You could be disabled. I'm sorry you can't bring that wheelchair in here. You're a fire hazard. Well, how about doing something about your building? Oh, no, terribly sorry, we can't do that. You could be lots of different things. So it occurred to me that, and as the poems en masse suggested that seemed to me the only title for the book.
So you thought that maybe political correctness was actually overshadowing what is quite a serious subject?
Well, the only people who've been upset have been white.
Yeah.
Like a journalist in the Sunday Times who was outraged that I, a black man, should use nigger as a title for my book, which is probably why he writes for the Sunday Times.
Oh, well, we got... Chrissy Eiley got hold of my golly here, but, oh, she's left it. That's all right, then.
But the political correctness bit seems to me that we have agreements about language. Up until a little while ago, we had agreed to call certain people chairman. Now we've agreed to call them something else. It's just a matter of agreements, it's a matter of good manners. Where it comes down to it is where I do...
It's bad manners for me to say to you, you're a nigger. I mean, you know...
I suppose context. Yes, we don't do that in newspapers. It's things like, for example, it gives a different signal to call a certain institution a madhouse or a lunatic asylum than if you call it a psychiatric hospital. It gives a signal of seriousness about something because we still don't take psychiatric problems seriously. So language can give a signal.
What do you think, Labby, about the way that people have kind of hijacked this issue to make little political...
Every system is open to abuse. Just because at Prime Minister's question time the Prime Minister obfuscates and does everything to avoid answering questions doesn't mean that we should ban the House of Commons.
Yeah. I was listening to Question Times last year sometime, and somebody rang in, I think, to Dimbleby. And the question was really quite funny, and I think this perhaps sums up how ridiculous in some ways it is. Said, would you please ask the panel, would lady pilots be upset at the prospect of sitting in the cockpit? And I mean, that... You can laugh, I mean, you know, OK. I mean, that sometimes maybe is taking it completely the wrong way.
Well, I think it's important to ask the people you're talking to. For example, do short people want to be called vertically challenged?
No, is the answer.
I don't know. I don't know.
And I don't want to be called follically challenged.
I think often well-meaning people forget to ask the people whose name they're changing.
Will you sing a song a little later on the show?
I will sing a song.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Labby Sifry. Now, straight into the music. Straight into the music, another number from Hetty Blue, and this is a Nina Simone song, and it's called Cinnamon.
Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Where you gonna run to? Oh, on that day, well, I run to the rock. Please have me a run to the rock. Please have me a run to the rock. Please have me, Lord, all on that day. said, rock, what's the matter with you, rock? Don't you see I need you, rock? Don't you see me alone that day? So I ran to the Lord, please help me, Lord, Lord. Don't you see me praying? Don't you see me down here praying? I run to the sea. It was bleeding, I run to the sea. It was bleeding all on that day. Myself, I put me there, look up at the sky, fall into myself, and I lie. Power to the Lord, power to sin, power to the devil, power to me.
Edwina, what a fantastic voice she has as well, and that was called Cinnamon. Now, just before we take the break, holiday for two in Mallorca, all you have to do is answer this question. Which of the following is more politically correct, chairman, chairwoman or chairperson? 0891 900 007, and the lines are open till midnight on Sunday. Come back soon. Much indeed. Welcome back. If you would like to be the celebrity floor manager, do please get in touch as soon as you can. Labby, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're going to sing a song, but first, just the first bit of Nigger.
Okay.
From the book.
The book, which goes, we don't need niggers anymore. We got something even better. Every colour can abhor. Most abuse is in the family. Convenient to ignore. Thank God for gays. We don't need niggers anymore.
Good. What are you going to sing?
This is called School Days.
School Days, ladies and gentlemen. Labby Sifri.
School days. I learned your dates and numbers. I learned that you were the winners. were civilized, and I was your burden. School days, I learned about your victories, the valor and the glory that was yours, and the heathen had to hide, 'cause God was on your side. You never told me the thief came in the night and stole my birthright. You never told me the empire you built then was founded on the bodies of my murdered brethren. School days, you taught me to despise, missing through your eyes. But now I clearly see the lies you call your history. School days, you taught me with your movies the red man was no man at all. He could not hold his alcohol. The black man likes to sing and dance, but does not have intelligence. Why do you need lies to make you feel man-sized? Why do you need lies to make you feel man-sized? School days, you taught me to despise, missing through your eyes. But now I clearly see the lies you call your history, the lies you call your history. School days.
Sifri and School Days, and Laughing, Loving, Crying and Lying was all my favourite. He doesn't like me to mention it, he didn't want to sing it, but it's always been one of my favourites. Now, let's, as we go on to political correctness, the flag has been rearing its ugly head. Little piece here in the Daily Mail from last year, December the 7th, and the Education Notebook now. John Patton would like us all to fly the flag from our schools. The Union Jack, the flag of England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, seems to have been hijacked by fascist racists quite a lot in this country, and he thought he would actually get the flag back from those sort of people by flying it in schools. Is that just being, perhaps, if you ask me, just a little naive? What do you think?
I mean, the sad thing about it is it's the only example of the current Secretary of State being genuinely interested in raising standards. And very many, very many of our schools would have real difficulty finding anywhere stable in the school to which to attach the flagpole. But you go back to political correctness, and I mean, one of the interesting things is that really we've spent so much time talking about words that people are using. What we ought to be doing is talking about the actions that people are doing. And the Secretary of State is very good on the words, but very, very bad indeed in terms of the actions. I mean, you've got many students in your audience today, and the attacks that the Secretary of State, is making on students are very worrying. And I mean, we've got, for instance, here, I've got a document from the Conservative Collegiate Forum, all about what Conservative students are doing. They're actually running a campus watch for forms of political correctness. Now, it would be a damn sight more interesting if we could get students looking at the sort of support they desperately need in their universities and on their campuses.
Yeah, but it's a free country so far, so if they want to do that, they can do it. I mean, the other people are going to turn around and say, what a waste of their time, I would have thought. What do you think, Al, baby? Hey?
Well, James, my old sport, what I think is that actually this is quite interesting, because one of the sour effects of political correctness is that it stops us defending our own culture. Because as soon as we try and defend our culture, our habits, our practices, our sort of traditions, we're accused of being oppressive to minorities. But we're not. we're just defending our own culture. So that means it shows that political correctness has turned in on itself and has become horribly divisive, where it ought to be something which draws us together.
OK, now, this is all very well and good. I'll go back over here to my friend Dan in the front row, who's been very quiet, which is unusual, really. And Dan said that we were a very tolerant society over here in this country compared to America. What has happened in America, of course, is there's a bit of a backlash now, isn't there?
Yes, well, you know, the political correctness thing went off the American university campuses where it actually started and infiltrated industry. Now, it's got to the point where you're pointing out, where does it end? You know, you can start to say the taboos to everything from, as is going on right now, smoking in the workplace. Men are fighting back against sexual harassment charges. They're saying that women shouldn't wear perfume because it's invading their space.
Anybody wearing perfume near you, Dan, or not? I mean, is it okay?
I mean, you have everything. I mean, you have a half dozen different ethnic descriptions of various groups there. You have to choose which one, like a contest here. That's what happens in America. Americans have to choose now, which is the right way I call this ethnic minority. If I say this, if I call him this, will he feel offended or something? People have to learn these things now. And it's much easier. First of all, let me say this. I don't think political correctness will last in Britain. This is a fad over here. I think certain things will catch on. Most will be discarded. In America, you got to remember, America is going in to is a transition from a vibrant, independent society to a brain-dead culture. And it's true. And political correctness takes root. It obviously takes root in people who don't have free will and will of their own.
I think there's a little agreement with you over here with Don.
American industry has long been a decreative source. It's one of America's biggest problems in the workplace. American industry is decreative, and people in decreative environments are very susceptible to be controlled by political correctness.
Okay, tell me in a moment if this is right or wrong. Bob Rendell, where's Bob? Can we get a little shot over here in the corner? Nice hairstyle as well, may I say. Now, Bob, you are from ANSA, is that right?
The Association for Non-Smokers' Rights, yes.
Right, the Association for Non-Smokers' Rights, and you believe this is a politically correct sort of campaign to do what?
It may not be thought of as politically correct. For instance, the very name non-smoker is perhaps incorrect in that 2/3 of this country are supposedly non-smokers, but in fact the other third,
Reminding you, we are running out of time,
indeed,
Bob.
some of those people actually pollute our airspace, taking away our right to unpolluted air.
So you don't want to see people who smoke near anybody else, really. That is, as far as you're concerned, very rude.
Incorrect.
And incorrect.
And in fact, I don't know a single non-smoker.
You don't?
Because everybody smokes at some stage, whether they're actively smoking or passively smoking. In other words, if you smoke, I have to suffer the cancer-causing chemicals which waft my way.
And are people taking this seriously?
Certainly they are. I mean, we've had many achievements over the years.
Okay. Dan, is that something, I mean, there's quite a serious point here that the political correctness is achieving or not?
Well, the political correctness, as far as things like smoking, things which have been proven to be injurious to one's health, obviously you have some sympathy with the fact that you don't want to, have people smoking around you. When I go to some friends of mine who are heavy smokers, I come back, I got to wash my clothes immediately. I mean, it's
so there's some sense you see in this thing, really, isn't it?
A lot of things are sensible, but the pedantic things are the things that actually.
Okay, we've got about 30 seconds to go. Should we leave that with the Liberal Democrats?
It's worth pointing out that in fact the House of Commons banned cigarette smoking in the chamber in 1693, so I'm sure you'll be very happy indeed.
But you don't fly the flag. I noticed there are no flags anywhere. Have you noticed that? There we are, the Mother of Parliament, and no flags.
Victoria Tower of the House of Lords.
Yes. Yeah, but that's not inside. That's not inside.
How can you fly a flag inside?
Okay, so we've learnt today.
James?
I wonder where you were. It's been so quiet.
You've been overworking me. You've been overworking
me
too much.
Rose, thank you very much indeed. I think we are
I'm
fairly.
going to have a glass of Guinness now and lie down.
Are you? Okay, that is politically correct. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed. Thank you to everybody for joining us. I haven't a clue what we're going to do next week, but I think it'll be entertaining, and who knows who the celebrity floor manager could be.
Somebody better than me.
You're supposed to be counting me down. I'm supposed to be 6, 5,
yes, 5, 4.
Have a nice weekend. Join us again,
1.
same time, same channel next week. Bye-bye. Okay, so we can.